If you're white, don't talk to Zay. Oh, what the fuck is this server, man? Oh god, let's get into this fucking video.
This is why I hate white people.
Who doesn't?
Me, because I have a
If
white
you're white
GF.
and
You personally don't know me, do not interact.
The whites do not interact.
I'm not though. Whites don't interact.
If you're white, don't talk to the staff
Junkie,
team.
you're white. Yes, but you're white.
Don't
He is
interact.
white, then don't interact.
The same line of reasoning that allows someone to say, I'm not satisfied with what the dictionary has to say about racism, is the same line of reasoning that allows someone else to say, I am satisfied with what the dictionary says about racism. Language is a human invention, so simply insisting that racism means A, B, and C, or that racism does not mean X, Y, or Z, isn't going to get you very far if the person you're talking to doesn't agree. You have to win them over with your reasoning. And unfortunately, the reasoning behind this argument has a rather stubborn flaw. The argument goes that black people can't be racist as individuals because black people can't be racist via institutions. Racism can be discussed in either one of these contexts, but they are nonetheless two different contexts. Sociologists, the same people who are apparently responsible for the prejudice plus power model, agree that racism as an ideology exists both at an institutional level and at an individual level. Sociology draws a distinction between the two, but this argument doesn't. The only way it works is if you conflate the two, and failing to differentiate between different contexts is not a very responsible nor intelligent thing to do. This is not to say that these two never overlap, they do, but treating them as one and the same is not reasonable. We wouldn't conflate institutions and individuals on the subject of religion or activism, so why would we lump them together when it comes to racism? Context is vital to communicating effectively. Once you start muddying those waters, it isn't long before you encounter the inevitable failure of communication. To give you an example of what that might look like, imagine a black individual exclaims, "White people are evil, and I hate them all." A white individual walks up and says, "That's racist." And the black individual responds with, "What else? Black people can't be racist." Now, in what context were these statements made? What's the meaning behind them? Well, the meaning behind the black individual statement is, my race doesn't have the institutional power to enact racial prejudice. And the meaning behind the white individual statement is, you are preaching intolerance towards individuals based on their race. Once you remove all uses of the word racist and replace it with their arguments in their proper context, you quickly begin to realize that these two they're really not talking to each other. The white individual's reasons for calling the black individual a racist have nothing to do with systemic or institutional anything. Nevertheless, the black individual is disagreeing strictly on that basis. This is what happens when you blow off context. People end up talking over each other's heads. As far as racism in the context of individuals goes, well, it sure would be dandy if anyone who said or did anything racist could be called racist. That would appear to be a good place to start, because judging an individual based on nothing other than their race is still bigoted, and we can't have people running around dodging charges of bigotry just because somebody didn't play the linguistic hokey pokey and forgot to say racial prejudice instead. That is not going to make the world a better place any sooner. Of all the productive ways to combat racism, building concepts on power without a way to measure it, insisting upon different terms for different races, ignoring the differences between distinct contexts, and ruining conversations with semantics are not among them. One more time, language is a human invention. If you want to make this argument, you can. But if we can all agree that everything written on each one of these note cards is unethical and can be exhibited by any individual of any color, expect an argument like this to burn more bridges than it builds.
Now that debunks the whole race-based prejudice shit that you want to go on about. From here forth, I will be talking about race-based prejudice, the what you will call the white man's definition of racism, not the power plus prejudice argument that the blacks try to portray. Xenophobe using race-based prejudice definition of racism is a racist, and heavily so. I don't blame Xenophobe directly for this, as Xenophobe is surrounded by people like Cotton and Eurosbin, who all are POCs and they all hate white people, chanting down with the crackers and fuck all white people and all white people deserve to die and shit like that have been posted everywhere. I don't give a fuck even if you can't be racist to a white person, race-based prejudice is just as bad towards a white person. How is it any, because it doesn't have the historical backing, it's any different if a white person goes and bashes someone in the middle of the fucking street and a black person doesn't? Is it any different if a black person were to go to do that? No, they both get the same fucking punishment. If anything, the black person would get punished more, because it would be called racism. While blacks will argue that's completely invalid. We are arguing about two different things. Xaphobe, whether you like it or not, is a fucking prejudiced racist. It's just as bad. I don't care what label you want to put it under. Sure, let's label it something else, but it's just as fucking bad. It's just as fucking bad. Oh, man. I had this argument with Cawthon a while ago on my Discord server. And in that argument, after I've successfully fucking destroyed him in it, he admitted that blacks can be racist. Now, backed by all of his friends, with the username UndermanHater, he's trying to teach everyone that blacks can't be racist. It's hilarious, when he's already admitted they can be in the past. Xaphobe, saying this is why I hate all white people and all that shit, it's so funny to me. Zay is a fucking racist, but hides it. Zay, you won't post on your community tab, I hate all white people, will you? You won't say that, will you? Because you want to hide that shit, Zay. You want to hide that shit. In fact, Zay knows I have way worse than what I've got on her already. Because I threatened her and I said, you want to get involved with drama, I'll get involved with drama, and I've got so much dirt in your fucking history. And, Zay immediately deleted the post and backed out of the drama. If that's any proof for you that I have shit on Zay, there's your proof. It's such a funny situation. Zay pretends to be an angel. How much of your audience, Zay, do you think is white? How much? Probably a lot of them. Do you think you're gonna offend them at all? Think you might. Let's listen to why this argument even started at all. So, there was a drawing in Xiox's server. That's where all these are from. Xiox is Zay's best friend. That makes a lot of sense. There was a drawing in Xiox's server of a typically white character, shown in black, shown as a black character, therefore taking their race and the core part of their identity away from them, right? That's the argument everyone uses against whitewashing. Am I right or am I wrong? I'm right. But you've got people like Kitpaws, Xaphobe, all of them saying blackwashing can't exist because it doesn't have historical pretext. That's like saying a murder can't exist because that person's never murdered before. Cunt, it exists. New things do happen, believe it or not. Just because it doesn't have racial history doesn't mean shit. God, just because fucking... For example, just because women were banned in the workforce fucking 100 years ago, doesn't mean they are now, does it? They're not banned anymore, are they? Oh well, guess they can work. Oh no, they can't work because in history it said they couldn't, so we can't change that. Things fucking change, believe it or not. Racism towards whites does exist. And Zay and all her friends is a prime fucking example of it. Just saying. Just fucking saying. And that's the end of this video. Goodbye.